WHOW duct cleaning to keep your air healthy. Find out how they can help you by clicking their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Netflix buffering, YouTube spinning, devices not connecting, Zoom calls dropping. It's frustrating. Let's end your frustration by signing up for fiber internet in Clinton. Click the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
News time is 7 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Tuesday morning. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded 7 o'clock newscast brought to you this morning by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and by Connexus, providing fiber internet to Clinton. Learn more at DeWittDailyNews.com. Here's what we have for you coming up in news on this Tuesday. The decommissioning of Constellation's nuclear emergency sirens will be coming soon, and they have been offered to DeWitt County. That story comes up next in news. Clinton's Kiwanis Park is moving closer to having a new playground. We hear from Tony Harris, the city administrator for the city of Clinton, in news this morning. A well-known musical comes to Piatt County this weekend. That story next. And we've got the weekly crop report after a week of some solid weather finally for producers. They made some headway. We hear that in the weekly crop report coming up on this Tuesday. We stream to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. The decommissioning of Constellation's nuclear emergency sirens could be coming soon, and they have been offered to DeWitt County. At last Thursday night's DeWitt County Public Safety Committee meeting, Emergency Management Agency Coordinator Will Pavlik told the committee the decommissioning of the sirens is impending, and the new primary alert system for nuclear emergencies will be a service called iPause, which is run by the Federal Emergency Management Agency.
As you guys all know, this discussion about the sirens has kind of been going on for a couple of years now, I want to say. Constellation decommissioning them fully for nuclear emergencies. So I've been in contact with Alyssa Howard with Constellation, who's kind of running this project, along with a couple other folks from Constellation. And we're kind of in the process now of getting our ANS, our Alert Notification System report, kind of through the door. So we are planning on trying to get something at the end of this month pushed to FEMA for approval in regards to trying to find our primary and backup alert systems for nuclear emergency notification. So the current evaluation report that we've got iPause is going to be our primary. iPause is the Integrated Public Alert Warning System. It's run by FEMA, and it's an all digital platform that we can use kind of in our EOC as well as dispatch to modify pre-scripted messages and push out alerts through cell phone services. So it uses all cellular tower capabilities to be able to push alerts to your cell phone, and obviously in the case of emergency. So that is going to be our primary alert system. Is that what we're looking at?
In case of an iPause failure, the backup system will be Everbridge. Pavlik explains these changes are coming from new federal mandates for all nuclear emergency notices to be issued in a digital format.
Our primary backup system that we're using is going to be a mass notification system called Everbridge. And Everbridge basically is a system that uses landlines, it uses cell phone service, VoIP services, and then emails, and it kind of funnels all of the numbers within a jurisdiction through a database. And then through that database, it pushes out alert messages and emergency notification alerts to everyone's cell phone, emails, texts. It's very similar to the HyperReach that we use right now within the city and the county, which those are kind of the two pieces we're looking at. The reason that Constellation is decommissioning the siren use for nuclear emergencies is that the Nuclear Regulatory Commission is having this be put in the FEMA rep manual to satisfy a requirement that all notifications from a nuclear perspective will have to go to a digital monitoring, and sirens will no longer be an option for nuclear emergencies.
Constellation is willing to transfer the ownership of these sirens to the county. However, they would have to take on the costs of maintenance. This is an offer the previous county board had rejected due to an estimated cost of $2,000 in yearly upkeep per siren. Now Constellation says it would be only $500 per siren per year.
Essentially what we had kind of discussed with Constellation is obviously we use our sirens not only for nuclear emergencies, but we also use them for all hazard notification as well. For tornadoes, severe weather, anything of that nature, hazmat, potentially kind of in the following steps in terms of trying to educate the public on what we're going to be doing from this point forward. Obviously, we've kind of talked before about, do we want to keep the sirens? Because the Constellation is giving us the opportunity to keep the sirens, but we would obviously have to maintain them at our own cost. So, whether it's the county or a municipality takes them on, they will leave sirens for us, but we will be in charge of maintaining it. We'll be in charge of getting the setup ready. And if it needs to be taken down for some sort of service issue, that'll be up to us as a county if we take those on. So that's obviously an option too, if we would like to keep the sirens. But I know Constellation has said it'll be about $500 per year to maintain those on average. And that's obviously barring no major setback with any of the sirens, which will be a lot more than $500 potentially.
While the committee has not taken action on any offer yet, they did request Pavlik gather more information regarding the change in estimated costs for yearly siren maintenance. Clinton's Kiwanis Park is moving closer to a new playground with a target installation date of midsummer. This week, city officials are meeting with contractors to begin site preparation, a key step in the project's progress.
Well, we have a meeting, myself, a representative from the company that we've contracted with to buy the park play equipment. And that same company is doing the surfacing, the flooring of the park, as well as installing all the equipment. We have a meeting with the representative, Steve Lobb, and I next Tuesday to do a site visit, just to get the city. Steve Lobb and his crew will be doing the basic site work on that. So we have a meeting with the representative next Tuesday to go over just basically what they need done prior to doing the flooring and the installs. Again, it's moving forward.
That's City Administrator Tony Harris, who indicates they are working to get construction started as soon as possible.
Commissioner Ballinger, he spoke to a lot about this, and it was his goal to have this thing wrapped up as of like May. He wanted this thing done as of May, but because of the city administrator personnel changes and some delays, that delayed us a little bit. Some delays with the company, so right now it's looking more like install like the last of June. First of it is what it is. We hope to have this thing wrapped up by May and have a grand opening where the kids can enjoy all summer long, but that's not going to happen. It's going to be more toward the tail end of summer, fall.
The original Kiwanis Park playground equipment came down in October of last year. The original equipment was primarily wood and had fallen into disrepair despite many attempts over the last few years to preserve and prolong the equipment. News time is 14 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Tuesday. Again, still to come this morning, we've got that weekly crop report. After a nice week of weather, the producers of Illinois were able to make some headway getting this year's crop into the ground. We hear more on that in this week's weekly crop report. Also coming up in sports on this Tuesday morning, Clinton's softball team won a Slugfest with Decatur St. Teresa on Monday. High school baseball winners from Monday included Monticello over Maroa Forsyth, Aregenta-Oreana, and Mount Pulaski on the baseball diamond. Those stories on the other side of 7:30 in sports this morning. A well-known musical comes to a Piatt County high school this weekend. Peyton Lentz and Hayden Rice are part of the Gordo High School theater department, and they explain their musical this year is School of Rock. The show tells the story of a couch surfer turned substitute teacher who enters his students into a battle of the bands.
Our musical is School of Rock, and Hayden here will be playing Mr. Dewey Finn, where it's like the Jack Black film, and it'll be a very fun show to put on. It's really funny. It's a good show.
So basically, it starts out with Dewey Finn, who he tends to be he's a couch surfer, I guess is what they would call him. He jumps from couch to couch, and he finds himself settling with his friend who he used to be in a band with. Well, eventually he gets a call. He's trying to pay some rent, and he imitates his friend who's a substitute. And he finds out that the kids who he's been subbing for can actually play instruments. So he takes those kids and he decides to put them in the battle of the bands, eventually being found out that he's not actually a substitute.
I play Rosalie Mullins, who is the principal of the private school that he is a substitute teacher at.
Auditions for the show took place in December, and since then, the cast has been working hard to prepare for the performance. Rice indicates he's looking forward to the participation of the audience during the show.
I believe we did tryouts back in December before Christmas break, and then we started practices around February. So we've been practicing for a while now.
To be honest, I usually tell our director, I say, you give me what you feel is the best. I just try out and I hope for what I can get. It's just a lot of just be very extra on the stage. It's like, I think that's what I've enjoyed the most, to be honest. That and there's a lot of energy and a lot of audience interaction. And I feel like having so much audience interaction in a show it can help the audience to engage a lot. And it overall just makes the vibes in the room a lot better. It's almost like a full rock concert. It's a rock concert for 2.5 hours or however long it is. I mean, it's a lot of bending down towards the audience and showing them a lot of emotion in your face and a lot of energy. If you're familiar with the movie, there's a few songs that are the same, but there's a lot of things that are actually unique to the musical.
Putting the musical together has not been an easy task. With a small cast and crew, Lentz says there are a lot of moving parts to make sure the show goes on without any
We
bumps.
probably have 25 people in our cast, and that's also including our backstage people. So it's not a huge cast, but we definitely make it work. And with having so little people, it's a lot of like team building stuff, and it's a lot of like relationships being built and bonding.
So for the main set, we have one main wall, and we just decorated it last night with a bunch of posters, chalkboards, bulletin boards, and then there's a main desk. And then we roll in like the instruments, roll them off, and then the other parts, the curtains are closed, and we bring in props for those scenes. It took us a few days. We have a friend who comes in and paints the set, and she does a really good job. That took about 1 weekend, and then setting up the stuff just over time, which we don't like have days set aside to like do it. We just do it during practice. So it's taken the majority of the practices to figure it all out.
And we're still adding stuff all the time.
It is April 24th, 25th, 26th, 7 p.m. each night, and there's also a matinee 2 o'clock show on the 26th.
To see the School of Rock performance by the students of Cerro Gordo High School. Again, those shows are April 24th, 25th, or 26th, and tickets can be purchased at the door. Before a wet weekend, producers made some headway getting this year's crop in the ground. Brad Summa, director of the USDA Nass Heartland region, says 4 work days were available to farmers last week, and conditions remained wet.
There were 4.1 days suitable for field work in the week ending April 20th. Topsoil moisture supply was rated 1% very short, 7% short, 72% adequate, and 20% surplus. Subsoil moisture supply was rated 2% very short, 13% short, 73% adequate, and 12% surplus.
Corn and soybean planting made significant progress with those 4 days suitable for field work last week.
Corn planted has now reached 7% compared to the 5-year average of 11%. And for our Illinois soybean crop, it has now reached 10% planted compared to the 5-year average of 7%. The winter wheat across Illinois is now headed in 5% of the fields compared to the 5-year average of 6%. And the winter wheat condition was rated 1% very poor, 6% poor, 38% fair, and 49% good, and 6% excellent.
Pasture conditions were 40% good and 24% excellent. News time is 21 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Tuesday. Plenty more to get to coming up on the morning show.
Spring is in the air, so it's time to choose your new Silverado. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton. We have a good selection of new Silverados with springtime savings and special finance rates. Choose from regular cabs, double cabs, or crew cabs in gas or diesel. We're also allowing extra money for your trade on all new Silverados this month. Silverado, together let's drive. See all our inventory at bombchevybuick.com right from the start.
Experience the power of better connection with Connexus Fiber Internet. Connexus delivers ultra-fast, reliable speeds to keep you connected at the speed of life. Whether you're working from home, streaming your favorite shows, or gaming with your friends, Connexus has you covered. Say goodbye to buffering and dropped calls and say hello to fiber fast internet. Ready to upgrade your connection? Sign up today by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
News time is 22 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Tuesday. Again, I'm Seth Lawrence with you folks today for this expanded local newscast. County fair season is fast approaching in Illinois. David Engelbrecht is the historian for the Illinois Association of Ag Fairs. He says county fairs continue to face challenges.
Well, some of the things that we have to deal with, and people don't even think about it, is what happens in the state legislature that could impact us. And so we're constantly in contact with our state senators and representatives and even the governor's office to try and assure and make sure that we don't lose what we got. And we work very closely with the Department of Ag here in Illinois. God bless their people that help us establish what we have to have, because if we lose any more financing, all the county fairs are going to be in a little bit of trouble, because you can't depend on everything coming in through that gate. So our financial backing comes from the fact that we have premium fairs that when they turn in their premiums, we rely on that state reimbursement to help finance fairs. And the financing of fairs is getting more difficult all the time. That's one of our key things. The other thing is livestock. Livestock's on a downturn. I know in our county we've had to do away with dairy because, quite honestly, we only have 3 dairy farms in the whole county anymore. We used to have 27 dairy farms, so that cuts down on your dairy show. The small animals seem to be a little bit on the rise, but then now we've been affected by, like you said earlier, the bird flu is affecting us. So there are so many challenges that we have on a yearly basis that it's kind of overwhelming unless you're out there fighting all the time.
The Martinsville Ag Fair and Greene County Fair kick off the county fair season in late May. 4-H remains on solid footing in all 102 counties in the state of Illinois. Alex Paul is with the Illinois 4-H Youth Leadership Team.
We are proud to say that we have 4-H in all 102 counties in Illinois. And so, yes, 4-H originally started on the farm. It was an organization that was meant for the farmers, for the cows and corn area of agriculture. But it's moved so far beyond that at this point. With having 4-H in an area like Cook County, chances are those kids had probably never seen a cornfield, but they have a place in 4-H when it comes to agriculture. They can learn about growing maybe specialty crops, maybe just a little vegetable garden in their home, but they can also branch out into the other areas they might be interested in. I mean, you can look into mechanics, like I said earlier, graphic design, the visual arts, and really branch out into anything you might be interested in, which is part of why the 4-H program has such a strong career readiness initiative. Right now, we're working on the Beyond Ready initiative, which is something that goes to show that all of the programs in 4-H, regardless of what career you want to do, regardless of where you want to end up in life, 4-H has something to support you there. And we're trying to show that through our Beyond Ready initiative.
Paul is from Wayne County. Quad Cities auctioneer Neil Dahlstrom continues to gain traction with his book, Tractor Wars, John Deere, Henry Ford, and the Birth of Modern Agriculture.
I uncovered some records in the John Deere archives where an engineer at Deere named Theo Brown gave a report of his visit to Henry Ford and was talking about Ford's ambitions to build 1 million tractors a year in a market that was non-existent. And I just found that to be really fascinating, and that lured me in. And I didn't know Henry Ford had 75% market share in the tractor business in 1926, and then he just kind of disappeared for a while. Context is so important. This is an era, World War I, there was a financial depression in the early 1920s that really helped these farm equipment companies survive the Great Depression a decade later. So all that context was really important. But I think I was surprised at how much collaboration was going on behind the scenes. These companies were talking to each other. They were working on problems. They were partnering. So they were collaborating. And at the same time, of course, the competition was fierce between the same companies. So you can kind of do both at the same time.
The book, out in paperback May 13th, has resulted in a PBS documentary. The local foods movement in Illinois continues to promote the Shop Local directory through the Market Maker. It's important for groups like the Illinois Specialty Growers Association and the Illinois Farmers Market Association, says Illinois Farm Bureau Association Director of Food Systems Development, Regella Scavuzzo.
And we all made a concerted effort. There is, at this point, at least 15 organizations involved. And the reason that we made this decision was that none of us need all our own directories. Do we want them? Yes. Do we want to showcase who our members are? Yes. But we also acknowledge that farm and food businesses can't manage 15 different logins and different directories that they have to update. It doesn't give any of us a cohesive list because you're going to pick which ones you want to go to. It doesn't give the consumer a cohesive list because you have to go to 15 places. But if we all use the same platform, we can put parameters on it. So, the Farmers Market or the Farmers Market Association can display farmers markets on their website. The Farm Bureau Amenity app, which is the member benefit app, can show members. Farm to Food Bank can show those that work with the food bank system. The Farm to School Network can set it up so that they can have that. And then we still have one cohesive place. And we still have that opportunity for everybody to be found no matter where they're going. So if you are a larger farm that's wholesale, you need to be user-friendly for our wholesale businesses to go find you. But if you are a small CSA or you are a UPIC farm, you want the consumer to find it. And it's got to be a user experience for both sides and that they can search those parameters. So it's been a long time, lots of evolutions to get to this place of it's easy for both sides to use it and it's cohesive for everybody. And that's the only way it can be a consistent directory for everyone around.
You can find that directory at il.foodmarketmaker.com. News time is 29 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Tuesday. Coverage of news today brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and brought to you by Connexus, providing fiber internet to Clinton. Learn more at DeWittDailyNews.com. Again, news time 29 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Tuesday. We stream to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. A look at local sports comes your way next. Clinton girls softball winners yesterday in Decatur. A recap comes your way in sports in just a few minutes.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. America's wealthiest university, Harvard, which boasts a $51 billion endowment fund, is suing the Trump administration over a $1 billion freeze in federal funding. Responding to higher Trump tariffs on imported pharmaceuticals, Swiss drug maker Roche says it will invest $50 billion in U.S. manufacturing over 5 years, company planning to add 12,000 jobs. The Anti-Defamation League says a number of anti-Semitic incidents in the United States hit a record high last year. The group's report notes 58% of the 9,354 incidents related to Israel. Negotiations between Iran and the U.S. over Tehran's rapidly advancing nuclear program will move tomorrow to what's known as the expert level. And on Wall Street this morning, Dow futures 292 points higher. More details at srnnews.com.
Sale would be unlawful. With SRN Sports, I'm George Williams checking Major League Baseball from yesterday. It was the traditional 11 o'clock in the morning start for the Red Sox and the White Sox on Patriots Day. The game goes to the Red Sox by a score of 4-2. to accommodate the running of the Boston Marathon. Those results in just a moment. Elsewhere in baseball, the Guardians over the Yankees 6-4. Marlins beat the Reds 6-3. Tigers over the Padres 6-4. Mets beat the Phillies 5-4. It was the Braves defeating the Cardinals 7-6. Astros shut out the Blue Jays 7-0, and the Giants over the Brewers 5-2. Well, the Boston Marathon, led by actors portraying Paul Revere, announcing the runners are coming. The women's winner, Sharon Lokedi of Kenya, breaking the course record by more than 2.5 minutes to take the laurels. And fellow Kenyan John Collier, who fell down at the start, came back to run the second fastest Boston Marathon for a man, winning in Boston. SRN Sports. NBA action was the Pistons over the Knicks, 194 in their second playoff game. Pistons tie the series at 1. Clippers defeat the Nuggets 105-102, tying that series at 1. In basketball tonight, you have the Bucks against the Pacers, Grizzlies and the Thunder, Timberwolves against the Lakers. NHL playoff play in overtime. It was the Capitals over the Canadiens 3-2 to take a 1-game-to-none lead in that best-of-7 series. And in his long storied career, it was the first overtime playoff goal for Alex Ovechkin to win the game. Elsewhere, Jets over the Blues 2-1. Jets take a 2-0 lead in that series. In overtime, Stars defeat the Avalanche 5-4 to even that series. Kings take a 1-game-to-none lead over the Oilers with a 6-5 win. Tonight, Devils and Hurricanes, Senators and Maple Leafs, Panthers and Lightning, Wild and Golden Knights. And in golf, a great amateur player, Jay Siegel, has passed away at age of 81. He made a name for himself on the Champions Tour. This is SRN Sports.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. Adley Humble drove in 6 runs and led Clinton in a Slugfest win, 14-13 over Decatur St. Teresa Monday afternoon in Decatur. A 2-run single by Humble in the first inning got the scoring started for the Lady Maroons, who jumped out to a 3-0 lead. The Lady Bulldogs would score the next 5 to go up 5-3 after 4. But a 6-run 5th inning broke the scoring open. Annalise Thompson hit a 2-run single to left to put Clinton up 7-5. 2 batters later, Humble added another 2-run single to put the Lady Maroons in front, 9-5. St. T got 2 back in its half of the frame to get within 9-7. After Clinton tacked on a run in the top of the 6th to make it 10-7 on a Thompson run-scoring hit. The Lady Bulldogs answered with 5 in the bottom of the 6th to regain the lead, 12-10. But Clinton wasn't going away without a fight. Humble added another RBI hit to bring the Lady Maroons within 12-11. Olivia Haynes' RBI ground out tied the game at 12. A batter later, Lainey Nichols singled to center, scoring 2 to put Clinton ahead 14-12, a lead they would not surrender despite St. T scoring a run and threatening to walk it off in the bottom of the 7th. Humble was 3 for 5 with a double and 6 RBIs. Thompson and Nichols drove in 2 runs, while Olivia Humes was 3 for 3. Avery Smith finished 2 for 3 for Clinton as well. The Lady Maroons had just 1 extra base hit in the contest. With the win, Clinton is 3-9 overall. They will travel to Hartsburg to take on Hardham today. Cole Basak, Colton Vance, and Ike Young all went yard, leading Monticello to a 12-3 win in non-conference high school baseball action on Monday in Forsyth. The Sages jumped out to a 2-0 lead on an Eli Kraft RBI single. Eric Arnold, Saturday's hero, with the walk-off hit against Williamsville, hit a sac fly to make it 2-0. Grady Rose and Camden Trendler hit back-to-back run-scoring singles in the Trojans' half of the first to tie the game at 2, but it was all Sages after that. Kraft hit a 2-run double in the top of the 3rd inning to put Monticello ahead 4-2. 2 batters later, Vance connected for a 2-run shot to left. Caden Rose hit a sac fly in the bottom of the 3rd to get Maroa Forsyth within 4-3. Basak homered to start the 4th and make it 5-3. Monticello, a sac fly from Kraft and a balk scored 2 more for Monticello in the inning to go up 7-3. Young's 3-run homer to left in the 7th broke the game open to make it 10-3. Kraft paced Monticello, going 2 for 4 with 4 RBIs and credited with 2 doubles. Dawson Gitros was 2 for 3 with 3 runs scored at the top of the order for the Sages. Carter Foran was 2 for 4 with 2 runs scored. Grady Rose and Trendler each went 2 for 4 with an RBI for the Trojans. Foran fired 4 innings of 3-run ball for the Sages. Matthias Rudolph closed it out with 3 innings of scoreless relief. Maroa Forsyth is 11-5 overall. They will host Williamsville today. Monticello moves to 14-3 overall, and they will take on Salt Fork on Wednesday. M.J. Hall fired another gem, leading Aregenta-Oreana over Sullivan 1-0 in Lincoln Prairie Conference high school baseball action Monday in Sullivan. Hall went the distance with 12 strikeouts and permitted just 3 hits and issued 3 walks. The only run of the game came on a bases-loaded walk in the 2nd inning. Jackson Finch, Lucas Camfield, Carter Logue, Mason Markham, and Hall each had hits for the Bombers. With the win, Aregenta-Oreana goes to 8-5 overall and 4-1 in the Lincoln Prairie Conference. They will do battle with Decatur Unity Christian on Thursday. Chance Payne drove in 3 runs, and Mount Pulaski overcame 5 errors to beat Riverton 10-5 in non-conference high school baseball action Monday in Riverton. Payne was 2 for 3 with a double and 3 RBIs. Jaden Jackson allowed 5 unearned runs in 5 innings of work. He struck out 2, walked 1, and permitted 4 hits. Chase Roberts closed out the win with 2 shutout innings of relief, including 5 strikeouts. Liam Smith doubled for Mount Pulaski. Preston Cowan was 2 for 3 with an RBI. With the victory, Mount Pulaski is 11-2 overall. They're at Hayworth this afternoon. Aregenta-Oreana pounded out 10 hits and took advantage of 6 errors to beat Gordo 12-1 in Lincoln Prairie Conference high school softball Monday in Gordo. Elisa Armstrong allowed an unearned run in 6 innings with 12 strikeouts and permitted 8 hits. She also had 2 RBIs while walking 3 times. Piper Jones paced the Lady Bombers offense that gradually pulled away late, going 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Sophia Wicklund was 2 for 3 with a double and an RBI. Addison Maiden was 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs, while Grace Manning finished 2 for 5 with a double and an RBI. Gordo drops to 3-11 overall and 1-4 in the Lincoln Prairie Conference. With the win, Aregenta-Oreana goes to 7-10 overall and 5-0 in the Lincoln Prairie. They visit Champaign St. Thomas More this afternoon. Walker Buehler pitched 7 strong innings. Christian Campbell's bases-loaded grounder rolled into right field for a 2-run single as the Red Sox beat the White Sox 4-2 Monday in Boston's annual Patriots Day game.
Some breakfast baseball on Patriots Day in Boston did not agree with the White Sox on Monday morning as Walker Buehler turned back the clock to his vintage days with the Dodgers.
0-2 doesn't matter in the end because Vargas takes a called third. And that is 7 strikeouts for Buehler. Called strike 3 on a fastball to get Baldwin. That's the 9th strikeout, first since the 4th inning.
The White Sox look to get back on track as they start a series with Minnesota on Tuesday, the second city of 3 on their current 10-game road trip. I'm Jeff Meller, and I'll have your pregame coverage starting at 6 p.m. on the ESPN 1000 Hard Rock Casino White Sox Network.
And the Sox return to the WHOW airwaves this evening. Sean Murphy hit a 3-run homer in an Atlanta 5-run 8th inning as the Braves beat the Cardinals 7-6 Monday night for their 4th consecutive victory. Austin Riley hit a 2-out, 2-run homer for Atlanta. Michael Harris added 2 hits and drove in a run. Daysbel Hernandez got 3 outs for the win. St. Louis lost its 5th consecutive. It dropped to 1-10 on the road. The Cardinals rallied with 3 runs in the 9th against Raisel Iglesias. Victor Scott II doubled home Pedro Pajes before Wilson Contreras connected for a 2-run homer. Brendan Donovan walked with 2 outs before Murphy ended the game, tagging out Nolan Arenado on a dribbler ball just in front of the plate. The Braves grabbed control in the 8th. Harris hit a tie-breaking single before Murphy went deep. Cardinals reliever Phil Maton got one out but was charged with 4 runs. St. Louis wasted a solid performance by Eric Fetty, who went 6 innings of 2-run ball. Atlanta right-hander Spencer Swellenbach permitted 3 runs. 2 were earned and 8 hits in 7 innings. Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol was ejected in the 8th inning for arguing balls and strikes. Riley was initially ruled out on a grounder to a shortstop in the 8th, but he was awarded a 1-out single after a replay reversal, and he scored the tying run on a Matt Olson single. Riley has 7 homers in his last 12 games against the Cardinals. Right-hander Andre Palante will start Game 2 of the 3-game set tonight. The Braves are going with a bullpen game Tuesday after Spencer Strider was placed on the 15-day injured list with a strained hamstring. Get sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. Sunshine mix at times today with daytime highs approaching 76. South winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight, lows level off around 54.